Whew, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little bit nervous, but it looks like that turned out to be a bull trap, and now Bitcoin is headed up and to the right. As I've been saying in a lot of my previous videos, if Bitcoin did break down below this $60,000 level, then it would be below the production cost, and that would pretty much put us in unprecedented territory because that would make it unprofitable for miners to actually mine Bitcoin, and that's never really happened before. Sometimes we can wick down below it, but we can't really stay down there for very long, and it looks like we have bounced up out of that area, but I hope you guys appreciate me letting you know whenever we do enter the danger zone. As I said in my last video though, as long as we didn't start closing any significant candles like weekly candles underneath this level or outside of this flag right here, then I think the bull market is still intact, and now it looks like this bear trap has actually played out, and hopefully we can continue to the upside, breaking out of this bull flag in the next week or two. If I zoom out here, you can see that it does look like we've turned this previous ascending level of resistance into support here, and we could trade along the top of this trend line for a while into this wedge that's been formed by that trend line and the flag that we're in. But eventually we're going to get squeezed into this a little bit too tight, and eventually we're going to break out. And if I go back to the linear chart, you can see that this is the height of the flagpole, and if you extend it from the possible breakout point, which nobody knows where it's actually going to be, then this is going to give us a price target around $100,000 or so. But going back to the logarithmic chart over here, if I zoom out some, you can also see that this blue trend line has actually represented the top of the market, and we always run into it at the very peak, and it sends us down into the bear market. And if we continue along this path, then it looks like this might be actually the very last push as we break out to $100,000. Because if I zoom back in here, you can see that that price target pretty much perfectly runs into that blue line. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen in June where the top of this price target looks like it's going to end. It could go all the way out until the end of the year, and maybe there's going to be some catalyst around the election that's going to signal the top of the market. And I'm really hoping we just break through this blue line right here, but I do think $100,000 is going to be a very significant psychological level. So even if we do continue beyond this point, I think it is probably going to see a pullback around there because there's been a lot of people in the market for years, maybe even since the beginning of Bitcoin, that are just waiting to sell around the $100,000 level because they've got enough money to retire on anyway, and they're probably going to take some profits. I'm not calling for the end of the bull run to be at the end of this year just yet, but I'm going to be looking at this parabola that we're currently in, represented by this curving yellow line going to the upside here. And I think that whenever we do break below this parabola, then that's going to signal probably the blow off top, and it might be the end of the market. So whenever that happens, however high up it is, I think I'm going to be taking some significant profits. But this is going to be when everybody is pushing the diamond hand mentality and trying to get you not to sell, and everybody's going to be acting like the market is going to go forever. But I'm going to try to remain reasonable, and I'm going to try to keep my emotions out of it so that I can sell and make some money myself, but also so that I don't lead you guys down the wrong path like so many other YouTubers will. In my last video, when I said that if we broke down below this $60,000 level, then I was going to start getting nervous, a lot of people said that they only watched the first few seconds of my video and then they just clicked right off because I was being way too bearish. But that's not going to bother me. I'm going to call it like I see it. And if that bothers you, well, then that's your problem, honestly. But if that's something you appreciate, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be keeping it real with you guys the whole way. At the moment, it looks like Bitcoin is putting in a giant hammer candle right here on the weekly chart. And if we can actually close it as a hammer, then I think this is going to represent the bottom of this downtrend. And hopefully it's just going to be straight up and to the right into the parabolic part of the bull run right after this. And unless we break down below this $60,000 level again, this is exactly what I'm expecting to happen. One thing that looks like it's pushing some FOMO into the market right now is that Coinbase's Q1 earnings are in, according to this post by Altcoin Daily. He says Coinbase generated $1.6 billion in revenue in Q1 of 2024 compared to the $736 million for the same period in 2023. Transaction revenue across both institutional and customer clients increased to $1.08 billion. As you can see, this is an earnings per share beat of 244.83%, and a revenue beat of 19.74%. And this is really bullish, and this is probably going to cause a lot of people to FOMO into Coinbase, but also Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as they see that that's the leading cause for their earnings actually going up. It's not just Coinbase, though, as according to this article on Quartz, Block announced in its latest earnings report that it will use 10% of its gross profit from Bitcoin products to purchase additional Bitcoin every month. Block also reported a $5.96 billion revenue, exceeding analysts' estimates of $5.75 billion, and the company's earnings per share were 85 cents, beating expectations of 62 cents per share. In the first quarter, the company's gross profit grew by 22% in a year to $2.09 billion. Block held 8,038 Bitcoin worth $573 million at the end of March. And according to this article on CoinDesk, for some perspective, Block had $80 million worth of Bitcoin gross profit in the first quarter, according to its earnings results. Were that level of profit to continue through the rest of the year, the company under this program would add another $24 million worth of Bitcoin to its balance sheet. $24 million pales in comparison to the billions of dollars that we've been seeing pouring into these ETFs, but it just adds to the buying pressure. And as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency related companies continue to beat earnings, I think this is going to be a boon for the whole cryptocurrency space. In negative news, according to this other article by CoinDesk, it looks like BlackRock's Bitcoin ETFs have actually posted their first day of outflows yesterday, leading the record of $563 million in exits from U.S. spot products. It says Fidelity's FBTC, not GBTC, led outflows on Wednesday in what may be an alarming development for the bulls, or what may have been. It's not alarming anymore since we've rebounded, but it does say BlackRock's IBIT had the first ever day of outflows, with $36.9 million exiting the fund. In my opinion, they were probably just trying to manipulate the market. I'm not sure, but I think BlackRock definitely has the potential to do that. And that's probably what caused the massive wick down, which turned out to be a bear trap right before we rebounded back to the upside. It goes on to say Fidelity's FBTC led outflows, shedding $191 million, followed by GBTC, ARK-B, and IBIT. Today, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing some inflows, though, since we have rebounded almost to $62,000 at the time of recording. And today, according to this article on Cointelegraph, it looks like we do have a total of 23,367 Bitcoin contracts worth $139 billion that are set to expire. It says data from Deribit Exchange revealed that the put-to-call ratio for Bitcoin options contracts is currently at 0.5, with a maximum pain point of $61,000, with the maximum pain point referring to the price at which the assets will cause financial losses to the greatest number of holders. Whenever this article was printed, I'm pretty sure Bitcoin was, as it says here, below $60,000, so the max pain was to the upside, and with Bitcoin being well above $61,000 at the time of recording, it looks like these bears are probably feeling it because you just don't short Bitcoin in a bull market. The good news just keeps on coming, though, because according to this article on CNBC, it looks like Bitcoin is climbing back above $59,000 at the time of this article coming out because the Fed has signaled it's unlikely to raise rates. It's not just that, though, because what's more actually bullish, in my opinion, is that the Fed is going to start slowing its pace of balance sheet runoff starting in June. I've been talking a lot about the balance sheet for the Fed, and whenever this starts going back up, that means liquidity is coming back into the system, and them announcing that they're going to be slowing the runoff means that this line is not going to continue to the downside as steeply, at least, but as we continue to see banks struggling, I think it's going to start curving back to the upside pretty soon. In the meantime, though, I'm looking for Bitcoin to close this weekly candle as a hammer candle, and then hopefully we'll be breaking above this downward trending resistance line pretty soon. But until it actually breaks out of this bull flag, I'm not expecting it to go parabolic yet, and it could definitely trade sideways into this pattern for a couple more weeks here. I'm not going to worry about it to the downside, though, unless we actually close a weekly candle below the $60,000 range. And for now, I'm just going to be hodling because I still think we're set up to hit this price target of about $100,000. And whenever we get there, I guess we'll just have to reassess things and see if we have some more parabolic action in front of us. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is the downside actually done, and are we going to continue sideways for a couple weeks, or are we just going to break out and continue to the upside with the next price target of $100,000 being reached in a matter of weeks? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if I brought you value. But most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.